Have you ever stopped to question if your thoughts accurately mirror reality? We all have a unique lens through which we interpret the world around us. A lens that's been shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and emotions. But what if I told you that this lens is prone to distortions? Yes, you heard it right. There exist thinking distortions, deceptive mind traps where our brain convinces us of things that aren't necessarily true. These cognitive glitches often reinforce negative thinking or emotions, making us feel anxious, depressed, or highly reactive. They color our perception of reality, painting a picture that's far from the actual truth. It's like looking at the world through a broken mirror, where everything is twisted and skewed. So isn't it high time we address these distortions? It's time we delve deeper into the world of thinking distortions and identify how they manipulate our perception. So, what are these thinking distortions that can warp our perception? Let's start with all-or-nothing thinking. This is when we see things in black and white categories. If a situation falls short of perfect, we might see it as a total failure. For example, you might feel like if you're not the best at something, you're the worst. Next is overgeneralization. Here we draw a general conclusion based on a single incident or piece of evidence. If something bad happens once, we expect it to happen over and over again. Like if we have one bad day at work, we might think we're bad at our job. Then we have the mental filter. This is when we pick out a single negative detail and dwell on it exclusively, viewing the whole situation as negative. Like focusing only on the one question you got wrong in a test, instead of the many you got right. Discounting the positive is another common distortion. Here we insist that our positive qualities or achievements don't count. If we do something well, we might tell ourselves that anyone could have done it. Jumping to conclusions is where we make negative interpretations without actual evidence. We might assume someone dislikes us without any concrete proof. Magnification involves exaggerating the importance of our problems and shortcomings, or minimizing the importance of our desirable qualities. For instance, we might blow a small mistake out of proportion while downplaying our accomplishments. Emotional reasoning is when we assume that our negative emotions reflect the way things really are, like thinking, "I feel it, therefore it must be true." Should statements are another distortion. We try to motivate ourselves with shoulds and shouldn'ts, as if we need to be whipped and punished before we can expect to do anything. This leads to guilt and can make us feel resentful. Labeling involves creating a completely negative self-image based on our errors. We might call ourselves a loser or a failure. Lastly, personalization and blame. We blame ourselves for something we weren't entirely responsible for, or we blame other people and overlook ways that our own attitudes and behavior might contribute to a problem. Knowing these distortions is the first step, but how can we challenge them? Challenging our thinking distortions is no easy feat, but it is a crucial step towards healthier thinking patterns. To challenge these distortions, we must first arm ourselves with the tools necessary to identify when they're happening. One such tool is awareness. We must be aware of our thoughts and how they're influencing our feelings and actions. This requires a level of self-reflection that many of us are not used to, but it's an essential first step in challenging distortions. Next, we examine the evidence. We scrutinize our thoughts and ask ourselves, is there factual evidence to support this thought? Is there evidence that contradicts it? We might find that our thoughts are often not supported by evidence, but rather they're based on assumptions, fears, or past experiences that may not be relevant to our present situation. Then, we learn to think in shades of grey. Distorted thinking often involves seeing things in black and white, with no room for nuance or complexity. But life is rarely that simple. By learning to see the shades of grey, we can challenge the all-or-nothing thinking that often underlies distortions. Experimenting with our thoughts is another effective strategy. We can test our thoughts by acting as if they were not true and observing the results. For example, if we're convinced that we'll fail at a task, we can still give it our best shot and see what happens. We might surprise ourselves. Lastly, it's important to remember that professional help is available if needed. Therapists and counselors are trained to help individuals challenge distorted thinking and develop healthier thinking patterns. If you're struggling to challenge your distortions on your own, don't hesitate to seek professional help. Remember, the power of perception lies within you. It's time to take control and shape your thoughts to reflect reality, not distortions. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe if you want to receive more videos like this one.